Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled Parents. In today's episode, EM demands my drink for her kid. Gets mad when she finds out I spoke the truth about it being alcoholic. Never thought I'd have something to post here, but here I am. Mother refuses to let me be after 23 years of emotional abuse. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. EM demands my drink for her kid. Gets mad when she finds out I spoke the truth about it being alcoholic. Now, for a bit of context, last weekend was Liberation Day in Holland, and many cities were having festivals to celebrate. Most of these festivals have free entrance, so they tend to crack down on people bringing their own food and drinks to increase profits from beverage sales. Mate of mine lives within the area where the festival is taking place though, so usually we drop our booze at his place and retrieve it during the festival. Since it didn't seem like a terrific idea to walk around with a bottle of JD, I mixed it into a 1L Coca-Cola vanilla bottle with just enough Coke that it looked like Coke and went onto the festival grounds. I'm assuming everybody is familiar with the common abbreviations. JD is my good friend Jack Daniels. We've been through a lot together. While walking around with the bottle of Coke, I feel a tap on my shoulder. Festival etiquette is to move over to the side to let somebody pass, after which I move alone. I suddenly feel a hand grabbing my shoulder and trying to pull me back, so I turn around and I'm faced with a typical Karen. EM, where'd you get that? Pointing at the bottle. Me, brought it from home. EM, can my kid have some? Me, not wanting everybody to know I had booze on me. They sell Coke over there, you can buy your kid a fresh, cold one. EM, they don't sell vanilla Coke there, and he doesn't like the regular one. He wants yours. Holds out hand. Me, if he doesn't like the regular one, I'm pretty sure he won't like this any better. Meanwhile, the kid has started squealing about how he's thirsty and wants that one, and EM starts giving me a demanding stare. Me, okay lady, I'm going to be honest with you. Half of this bottle is whiskey, and I don't think it's a good idea to give the kid whiskey. EM, you're lying. You just made that up so you wouldn't have to share with my baby. Now give it to me. While I kinda shrug and turn away and attempt to disappear into the crowd, the kid grabs the bottle with both hands, wrenches it from my hand, and makes a run for it, his mom in tow. I follow them, and I find them just in time to see the kid take a few massive swigs from the bottle, after which he starts violently throwing up almost immediately. Figuring the best move for me would be to not further pursue the now vomit-covered bottle of Jack and Coke, I decide to head over to my mates and mix a new one. In passing, I throw EM a told you, and make my way into the crowds. Within seconds, EM charges me, and starts attempting to take a swing at me. You poisoned my baby. Security. We're separated by bystanders, and a stall holder gets security, which questions both me and EM. EM, he gave my baby this bottle of poison and told him it was Coke. I want him arrested. Sir, what's in this bottle? Me, a pre-mixed whiskey and Coke, somewhat on the generous side with the whiskey. And why did you give that to a kid? Me, I didn't, sir. I was mostly planning on getting smashed myself, to be fair. They thought it was Coke, wouldn't believe me when I told them it was booze, and snatched the bottle from me. What you're seeing here is just the result of the kid taking a drink before I was able to stop him. At this point, a bystander chimes in, confirming that he saw the kid snatch the bottle from my hand, although he hadn't heard the conversation. Security tells the mom to not pull that shit again, to take her still crying kid to the first aid post, and instructs me to be more careful with the next batch I'm inevitably about to make. EM, where'd you get that? Pointing at the bottle. Me, brought it from home. EM, can my kid have some? So this woman hasn't heard of strep throat, herpes, or just the common cold? Mono is a good one too. especially since it's contagious after you are over it for months. I like security guards, they seem chill. But for real, why do parents demand drinks/food to be shared? So many diseases can be passed along this way, not saying you have one OP, but like come on. I like security guards, they seem chill. Most security guards don't give a fuck about what you're doing, as long as you're not causing any disturbance. Their job is to maintain order, not to nitpick about rules. This is an amazing story. Jack Daniels is a lifesaver. When you're in debt, and your wife is through, your boy Jack will be there for you. Next time try filling it with Fireball instead of JD. See how the kid likes it then. My mom always told me to don't drink anything from strangers and be careful with my cups and bottles. This EM encouraged her son to drink in a stranger bottle, even known it has booze on it. I can't understand Karens. Never thought I'd have something to post here, but here I am. So I was at the beach. Entitled mother comes up and says, "Can my kids use your floaty?" I say no, as it was pretty expensive for a floaty, but after I said this her face gone red and said, My kids can't swim and this is the only thing that will help them swim." And I replied with, "Then go buy one yourself," and she replied with "No," and I said, "Well then nobody's having it," and I deflated it and walked home. Why did she even take her kids to the beach if they cannot swim? EM definitely needs to grow up and realize that others' property is not automatically there for her kids. I agree with your assessment. EM was probably hoping someone else would give up her time and watch/entertain her kids or pass off her responsibility onto others. Sometimes I wish I could go back and tell her to piss off, but since the kids were there I didn't. Mother refuses to let me be after 23 years of emotional abuse. Growing up, I was forced to endure my mother's fits of rage daily. I have numerous stories involving her blowing up at me for nothing. She would go days or weeks without speaking to me as a child if I were to defend myself in any way. I once made a careless mistake and locked her car keys in the car, and she slammed the wrought iron screen door in my face so hard that it was wedged in the doorframe for weeks. Nobody could budge it. I once had her pick me up from school, and upon passing a friend shouted my goodbyes to her, not knowing that my mother had a headache. She screamed at me and berated me the entire way home for how disrespectful I am, for my grades, for how fat and lazy I was, 150 pounds at the time, 17 years old, and told me I should go live with my father if I can't do anything right. These are some of the more palatable stories I have just to provide some context. My mother is an eccentric, and not in a good way. In the last decade, she's taken on any spiritual ideals she can to excuse her manipulative, self-centered behavior. She'll spend thousands of dollars, anyone's money but hers, in order to attend ayahuasca ceremonies, is prone to growing her own hallucinogenic mushrooms, and of course cannot hold a conversation without bringing up astrology. Admittedly, she has become fractionally more tolerable to be around, but I say that having not lived in her house for several years now. In public, I know that she's always been slightly more conscious. This all being said, yesterday was my 23rd birthday. A week ago, she reached out to me asking what I'd like for a present. I made the mistake of telling her that I'd have to think about it, that the only thing I had wanted was a curling iron and that I'd asked my father for it already. She forwarded me several links to curling irons, with descriptors to each. I held fast, saying that I was pretty sure that Dad had already bought one for me. At this point, I was faced with her wrath. Why do I even bother? It's obvious you don't even care about me. And various untrue sentiments about me being closer to my father for some unknown cosmic reason when he's never given a shit about me. My father, for the record, has had some bouts of absences but has always come through for me and had painstakingly planned a surprise party for me yesterday. I love him very much and I know that he loves me. This is all to say, I'd not spoken to my mother the entire week leading up to my birthday despite her attempts to guilt me into doing so. Multiple texts saying I'm done trying. Live your life without me, I guess. Only to send messages the next day berating me for not having answered yet, and the cycle continues. Yesterday, day, I woke up to her having posted on my Facebook timeline all positive things that left a sour taste in my mouth. How I'm such a loving and wonderful daughter, and so on and so forth. Love bombing at its finest. I ignored it entirely and spent my day with my father, my friends, and my boyfriend. At the end of the night, she accused me of deleting it entirely. I have to admit that she almost reeled me in that way. Luckily, I was able to ground myself and realize that she was only trying to bait me into responding to her so that she could have that control over me again. She's been doing that all week, too. Getting upset with other family members for talking to me, or even just being short with them and then following up with, "Sorry, it isn't you, just, Philoy, not speaking to me," has me on edge. I will likely have to reach out sometime soon in consideration of my underage brother's well-being, but as soon as he turns 18 I'm getting him out of there and cutting her off entirely. Edit, thanks everyone for the support. I really posted this thinking I'd get people telling me that I was overreacting or to get over it because she's my mother, as stated in my first paragraph. I only listed a couple of menial things for context. I'm not confident that my mom will ever change, as many people also seem to think, because she likes to take the easy route. She'll talk about how hallucinogenic drugs made her see the errors of her ways and then will turn around and say that she doesn't understand how people don't just accept her as a yelling person. This being said, I'll take some of the advice I've seen here. I'll try and open different avenues to see my brother while I wait for him to move out. I know that he's been saving money doing odd jobs around the neighborhood for several years, which I could not be more proud of him for, but when the time comes I'll support him financially however I can to move out as soon as possible. He's the best of us and it's so important to me that he doesn't feel trapped or alone. Time to go no contact. Do whatever you have to do to make no contact a working living fact. So you had all of this, please update us once you were in a better state, i.e. with no contact in place. I will. I have been trying to keep her at an arm's length for the sake of my own sanity, but that only frustrates her and makes it worse. Hopefully I can find some kind of happy medium until my brother is grown up. Or don't reach out, just live your life and leave her to harass and gaslight someone else. I certainly will at some point. My brother is about to turn 16, though, and he's had it rough. He's still the sweetest little kid I know and he's incredibly self-aware, but I don't want him to be in that environment without any support. Do you really want to go through this for the next 30 years? Go no contact. It won't kill you. I waited until I was in my 50s. I wish I had stuck with it when I was in my 30s, but I got sucked back in by her. That is my only regret. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.